Cassie Owens Moore. I'm coming to you today to talk about books as usual, but I usually talk to you about books that you can share in your classroom, with your students, with your learning community. Today, I want to talk to you about some books that are more professional development because it's time. It seems like summer just started, but it's pretty much coming to an end. If you're like me, I'll be back in school in like 2 weeks. So before the end of July, I'm back at school, and there's a couple of places in the upstate that are doing that as well. And then some of you have some time in August, and some even a little bit later. But hey, it's all good. I want you to just start thinking about professional development. Now, if you've got a while before you're back in school, just save this video, watch it a little bit later. But I want to talk to you about two books in particular. One book is Dr. Gholdy Muhammad's Unearthing Joy. This is not a new book, but it trips me out that whenever I talk about this book, the number of people who are saying, like, I've never read this book, I don't know anything about this book. And so I really have to highlight it because it's so fantastic. It's a guide to culturally and historically responsive teaching and learning. Now, for some people, that's enough. They're like, okay, I'm not into that. They think that culturally and historically responsive teaching and learning only appeals to a certain group of students, a certain ethnicity, a certain culture. And that's simply not true. I use this model of teaching, this model of really just working with people, this unearthing joy, with this group that I work with once a month at the museum. We have a story time, basically, and I never know who's going to show up. It's a very diverse group. I never know who's going to show up because it's not the same students, it's not the same families every time. The thing that Dr. Muhammad stresses in this book, she talks about the 5 pursuits. And those 5 pursuits are identity, skill, intellect, criticality, and joy. And that's how I introduce all the books. And you see all the books behind me. This is how I introduce these books to these audiences. And I mean, we have young kids through, upper elementary and their families. And there's such good conversations that happen with these books because of the way that I'm able to draw them in, to help them identify things or to get that identity about things. And then it's just a wonderful way to teach. And so there's a lot of like little lesson plans. There's even I don't know how well you can see that, but there's even like a playlist. I mean, don't you love a professional development book that has a playlist? It is one of the best books. I go to it all the time. I've had it for a couple of years, and I just go to it every year. I use it in my classes in the library. I just use it all the time, and it's become like second nature to me. To just reach for this book, to refresh myself on what's going on in this book, to kind of check myself, because sometimes I can get in what I call like a teaching rut. I don't know if you do that. You're so busy trying to, follow this lesson plan or follow this district plan or follow this whatever, that you find yourself just kind of, saying, okay, we've got to do this and we've got to do this and we've got to do this. And you realize that you're missing the joy, that you're missing the connections, that you're missing opportunities to really make this meaningful for students. And we all kind of get in that cycle sometimes. At least I do. I'm just being very honest. I get in that cycle, but I've been able to kind of notice when that's happening. And I just reach for this book again. I'm like, okay, this isn't the way that I want to teach. This isn't what my students need. And so it's just a beautiful book. Again, this is Unearthing Joy by Dr. Gholdy Muhammad. She's written other books as well. I'm not going to act like this is the only one. She's written some other books, but this is probably my favorite book. All right. Another book that has to do solely with reading is Just Read It by Jared Amato. Now, Jared Amato is the founder of Project Lit. I love Project Lit. I have a Project Lit chapter in my school. Project Lit is a national reading movement for high school and middle school. Probably you could use a little bit for upper elementary as well. And he just has this book, Unlocking the Magic of Independent Reading in Middle and High School Classrooms. And it's just tidbits. Oh my gosh. It's, someone said to me, is it really anything new? And my answer to that is yes and no. It's not necessarily that it's anything new, but it's some things reimagined. And I'm okay with reading books that that touch on things that maybe I already know, because what's happened is, like I said before, you kind of get into this cycle of doing things the same way and doing things. Every now and then you just need a shake up. You just need to say, okay, now what is this? This is a brand new book, just came out. I jumped all over it. And he's got these things like authentic icebreakers and why we write in the class book talks and 100-word responses and just beautiful, beautiful things, beautiful ways to get students to really talk about what they're reading. I'm a big fan of reading conferences. That's like the cornerstone of all of my reading programs in my school, is that you have to have a reading conference. And I'm not stepping away from that. But, there's also a need to write, to get students to write about what they're reading, and not like these essays and not like these long reports. Just quick things. Let's keep students sharp. Let's keep kids thinking, because it's the thinking that we're really kind of looking at. So just read it. Fantastic book. One of the absolute best. I think it's a really good book. And there's others, like there's, books by Penny Kettle. There's books by Kelly Gallagher. If you've never read Read Aside, and I don't have that book right here, at my hands, but Read Aside by Kelly Gallagher, I think it's probably another fantastic book. I am very anti-AR points. And that book explains why I am so anti-AR points. And so I'm going to just leave it at that. I was going to talk about another book, but I think that needs another video because it's going in a completely different direction. But hey, these two books, if you decide to check them out, please let me know. Tell me what you think. If you have any book suggestions for me, please let me know that as well. I love learning. I love, just this conversation that we can have about books and how to get better at what we're doing. And as always, if you are not a part of the South Carolina Education Association, I invite you to join, because, in addition to being advocates for ourselves and for our communities and for our schools and for our students, we are also all about you growing professionally, growing just in a human way. Just, never stop learning. We just never stop learning. And that's something that we sincerely believe in at the SCEA. This video is being brought to you by the Center for Educator Wellness and Learning. So we always want to stress the wellness and the learning. And so, again, if you're not a part and you feel like, hey, I really think I need to investigate, to dive a little deeper into this, you are more than welcome to join the SCEA. You can join right now. There are no membership investments until September, so you've got some time to kind of try it before you, dive all the way in, but you're going to stay. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way for you to grow in your profession and just grow as a human being. I look forward to hearing from you, talking with you, learning with you. Have a fantastic day.
Together we heal, together we flow. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school.